Hey, it's Brian again with another Hordes of War Machine battle report with my Circle Oberos. This time still using Epic Morvahna. I'm playing against a mercenaries army this time, which I believe is a tier what is it, Highborn Covenant army led by Ashlynn, which is kind of neat. Haven't really played Ashlynn in quite a bit. Played it once in Mark 1, and I just remember it was god awful and horrible, and all the dice shenanigans that were going on. So apparently she's toned down in Mark 2 a bit, so I'm kind of okay with it. But anyways, so onto my deployment. First in the advanced deployment. Oh, by the way, this is a 35-point game. Didn't really do a scenario, just kind of a straight up assassination game. So with the 35 points, I took a unit of shifting stones with the UA. Second unit of shifting stones up a little bit is a full unit of blood trackers with Nuala, their unit attachment. In my standard deployment is a minimum unit of skinwalkers with a alpha. Morvahna herself still waiting to finish up painting her goat. A stalker, a winter argus, and a black-clad wayfarer. Onto the mercenaries army. He has Terran, the kind of the little gun mage mercenary. He has a mule, a Ogren Bokur, who is attached to Ashlynn, his caster, a Talon, Ashlynn herself, Wishnailer is back behind there, Reinhold. He has the character warjack, the Rosatante, or however you pronounce it. And the Chaosi Assassins are actually proxying for a unit of Nis Hunters. Apparently he didn't have them, so he asked if he could just proxy them, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So the Chaosi Eliminator in the background is kind of the character leader for the unit. So we go on to my first turn in a bit. I thought this was kind of an interesting. I noticed the base of Ashlynn, so I wanted to take a close up, and then I was actually rather surprised with the rest of her paint job. So yeah, we'll just kind of keep going from there. So anyways, on to my first turn. Pretty much kind of standard stuff. The stalker walked into the gray unit of shifting stones and then got teleported forward. The red unit of shifting stones kind of teleported up. The keeper walked up, put up stone form on himself. Skinwalkers just advanced. Blood trackers advanced with carnivore that was put on him from Morvahna. Morvahna also threw up fog of war as well. And the Winter Argus just kind of moved up and riled, just kind of general walking up. Also, if you notice on the top of the picture, the Nis Hunters are the prey target for the blood trackers. So then we go on to the end of Mercenaries turn 1. And with his Nis Hunters, he just kind of ran them forward, trying to engage some of the blood trackers, but not all of them. He knew that they were probably gonna die a horrible death, but I guess he figured that he would kind of stall them as much as he could, which is why he only kind of engaged about half the unit and kept kind of the second half in reserve. I believe it was the mule who. No, it was Rosa Sante, or however you pronounce it. One of these days, I'm going to get that pronouncement right. Took a shot at a shifting stone, or not at a shifting stone, at a blood tracker. I'm sorry. With it, still stealth and everything, it deviated a little bit and ended up killing a blood tracker. Not that big of a deal. The rest of his army kind of moved up. He put Ashlynn put blur on the Nis Hunters. And Terran just kind of moved forward on the left, just kind of readying for later turns. So this is my bottom of turn 2. And pretty much I took as much as I could, and I just went right into those Nis Hunters. The blood trackers with carnivore that was upkept on them, and their prey being on the Nis Hunters were hitting them on 5s. And with the rerolls that I was getting from eMorvahna, for the very rare times that they would miss, I was healing it right back from carnivore. So nearly like every single one of them kind of hit and killed somebody. And there were some times that I did get some quick work shots in. I think I was hitting on 9s at that point, but even then with Scales of Fate rerolls, I was still getting quite a few. The Skinwalkers I also charged in to kind of finish off a couple. And then lastly, I cycled over a carnivore over to the Skinwalkers as well, because carnivore was initially upkept on the blood trackers. So then when it was eMorvahna's turn, she just kind of moved around a little bit, put carnivore onto the Skinwalkers. And didn't really do a whole lot herself. She put winter coat on herself, so that now she was armor 17, but didn't really do a whole lot. And then the Stalker went up. I advanced him. I wasn't able to charge him in a straight line and still get where I wanted to go. So he engaged the one Nist Hunter that you could see still with the prey target next to him, and the character leader. And with needing 9s to hit, because I didn't realize it, and also the Stalker put Primal on himself, so he only had 2 Fury to work with. I missed a ton. I missed with the Claw on the normal Nist Hunters. I hit and killed the leader with his greatsword, and then I missed again with trying to finish off the unit. And I didn't want to leave him there with all those jacks and the Ogre Bokur and everything. So I backed him up with his sprint move for killing the leader. And with the free strike that he kind of got on him, he ended up taking 10 points of damage. It was split pretty nicely between mind and body, so I was okay with it. But still, it was a... I thought that he would have been able to take out both, and then when he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm defense 15," and I was like, it was just shitty. So he did what he could, but and the Winter Argus just kind of moved over. Not really doing a whole lot with him just yet. But we'll kind of see what happens. Now I forgot to take a picture of the next turn. So I'll kind of describe the mercenaries turn 2 before I get into the next picture, because the next picture is kind of a bit of a spoiler. But basically what happens is Ashlynn puts 2 points of focus on the mule, puts blur on herself, and she ends up charging the blood tracker, the very front blood tracker. That if you're looking at the picture, it looks like it's right next to the Stalker, kind of right in front of it. She ends up charging that one, killing her, and then shooting another one dead. And the mule ends up shooting the Stalker, gets I believe the critical devastation, the one where it throws you as well. So when it threw the Stalker, it hit a bunch of shifting stones, but because they can't be moved, they didn't go anywhere. But the Stalker ended up flying into that little gap in between the shifting stone and Nuala. And he took like 10 points of damage from that shot. Because he boosted damage for it and boosted a hit. And it ended up taking all of his mind and all of his body out completely. And I think he also took like 3 points to his spirit as well. And then Terran, the little gunmage solo, came up, took a couple shots into the Skinwalker. Didn't do any damage to him. The Nist Hunter moved to the left. So far, it would go completely off the picture. Basically, he just wanted to take that prey token and just get it out of dodge, so I couldn't move it over onto Ashlynn. Also, Ashlynn, at the beginning of her turn, she popped her feet. So I think at this point he realized that he was kind of in the middle of my army, but I think he was depending on his feet really to save him. With me having to roll, 2 additional dice, and then he got to pick which 2 got removed. Plus, with her natural defense 17, I think he was just kind of planning on being able to outlast for a turn, and then just kind of keep going. Although I ended up having other plans for Miss Ashlynn, and actually, at the end of my second turn, with the amount of transfers and stuff that I had to, or rerolls that I got, eMorvahna ended up having 6 points of damage, and you can see the Stalker there with his 10 points that he took from his free strike. So, anyways, so this is the end of my turn 3, and actually, it is the end of the game. Basically, what I did here. Also the Ogre Bokur. I'm sorry. A Talon tried to charge one of the shifting stones, didn't do any damage to it at all, despite getting the extra hits. The Ogre Bokur then ended up charging and killing one of the shifting stones. So in my turn, because Ashlynn was very conveniently kind of right near my army, I ended up teleporting some shifting stones around Ashlynn. I took the second unit of, or 2 more of the shifting stones. I also teleported those around her, and I ran. Not just ended up moving, but I ran as many blood trackers surrounding Ashlynn as I could. Even the Stonekeeper was up there. So then, if you notice that that if you look at where eMorvahna is, if you kind of go straight up, you'll see that there's a gray shifting stone right next to Ashlynn, and there's a gap that I could see it with eMorvahna specifically for spell targeting purposes. So the first thing I did is I moved up eMorvahna. I made sure that she had her 8-inch range, because I was going to be casting Death Knell. Or Death Knell, Knell Carter. I don't know. But I don't know where it's Knell or Neil. Probably Knell. There's 2 L's in it. Sure. So I moved up, made sure I was within 8 inches of that shifting stone. First thing I did, though, is I popped her feet. So I got back 2 shifting stones and 4 more blood trackers. And I added them even more on top, trying to get them as close to that gray shifting stone, because I knew that was going to be my target for the spell as I could. And the next picture that you'll see is the 4-inch AoE, pretty much centered on the shifting stone that was my target. My opponent Gavin even counted up all the models that was in the 4-inch AoE. It ended up being 14 models. And the way that Death Knell works is, if you hit your target takes a power 10. Everything else, because it's a blast, takes a power 5. But you add to the damage roll 1 point of damage for every single model in the AoE. So the shifting stone ended up taking a power 10 plus 14 at 24, and everything else under the AoE ended up taking a power 19, which created a huge, gigantic hole, needless to say. But the most important thing was that Ashlynn ended up getting hit with a power 19. Doesn't matter what her defense 17 is, nothing like that. And with the fact that I was targeting the shifting stone, it's only defense 5. It's not in the stealth unit, because the stealth unit was the red shifting stones. So it's only defense 5. It's in melee, so now it's defense 9. But with eMorvahna's magic ability of 7, sorry about that, just knocked something off my desk. She would still need a 3 to hit. So even with Ashlynn's feet up, I was able to hit very easily. I rolled boosting damage on Ashlynn, because really that was kind of the only dice roll that we were worried about, was whether she was going to die. So Ashlynn got hit with a power 22. So with no a power 19. I'm sorry, power 19 minus her defense of 15. It was dice plus 4. I rolled like a 7. So it wasn't going to be enough to kill her, so I took some damage, re-rolled it, and as we can see on the last picture, I got triple sixes on my re-roll damage, which easily killed Ashlynn. Will probably kill most casters in one shot with that high of a power. So yeah, that was something that it was. This list was trying to use this death knell and try to exploit it as much as I can. That was kind of the reason for the Winter Argus, was so that I could, if I needed, if I had the opportunity, I could walk up, spray a target, make them stationary, so that when I had the magic roll against the target, I could use the maximum power against them as long as eMorvahna could make line of sight to them. Part of the reason why I had the 2 shifting stones and the full unit of blood trackers, with their speed 7, just so I can surround and kind of create pretty much what I did. And also eMorvahna's feet helped out with that as well. So yeah, that is that's the game. If you're ever watching this, do not let an epic eMorvahna player catch you out with this. It's. I mean, the thing that I'm liking about eMorvahna, or epic eMorvahna, I should say, is that she has so many ways to get you. Because even if for some reason this didn't do it, I still had the Skinwalkers, I still had the Winter Argus, and I still have the Warpwolf Stalker, to be perfectly honest. So I probably could have finished off from there, being that huge group just turned into a giant mushroom cloud of death, which ironically also healed eMorvahna completely to full. So even if those other units still needed the rerolls due to Ashlynn's feat, I was still able to do that and not have to worry about damaging myself to the point that she would die. Yeah, so that's it. Key point of this lesson: don't let this happen to you, or to people who are playing epic eMorvahna. If your opponent lets you do this, punish them. Punish them bad, because they deserve it. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.